Well, that's as good a place to stop that. All that music stuff. Um, right there where the nice break is on the song, right? Welcome to Pieces Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint pieces. In case you're not familiar with what we do around here, because if you're new, welcome. It's glad to have you here. It's good to see you. I'm pretty new at this, and I'm bad at technology, and I'm okay with admitting that because we should all be okay with our flaws. We really should. Um, I like to check things out. So you bear with me for just a second if you're new around here, while I do the things where I check myself out and make sure that I got all this. I did get all this right. It looks. Yep. Oh yeah. See, and there's me telling you hello, and that's what we like to see, and make sure my Wi-Fi is off and all that stuff. Turn off as much stuff as possible so we can get as much love from the internet gods as possible to get all of this stuff broadcast to you guys, which is kind of what we want to do. All right. So we are still working on our psychophage. It's a Tyrannid from the Warhammer 40k universe. We've got our base coats and a set of washes on there. For those of you who were watching yesterday, you saw us put this raw umber wash on it, and now you can kind of see what the idea behind that is. Yeah, maybe bring this up just a little bit. I thought yesterday it was a little low. So there we go. Yesterday I felt like I was up here all the time. So we're still, and we're still trying to get all this to go together right. So, we're taking our time, but it's a good looking piece. Everything's starting to look pretty good. Probably need to come in and figure out what we're gonna do about these guys. And I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with this Space Marine arm that's in here, but I don't know what I want to paint the Space Marines as. I kind of want to leave that up to the channel. You guys figure out what to paint the Space Marine as. So maybe we're gonna pause for a second and I don't know, or maybe I just make it an ultramarine. In which case we'll have to get another color out, which is fun. But for now, I think we can go, because of it's such a small little deal. I think we can just black it, and then we'll come back and we can paint whatever we need to later. Because we want to get the rest of all these other little parts done up. And this is his arm, not this. This is, I don't know what that is. Some sort of metal piece, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's a really cool model. So we're going to work on this, and we're going to put it. We need to put the next wash on it, and finish up any little places where we need to get darker colors, purples, and all the other little colors done, because we're going to do a wash for this and this next. And then once we get all those washes on there, we might, and hopefully we'll be getting to working on this Screamer Killer, which is, I'm going to drop him right in the paint. He's a big crazy guy, big chungus. Oh. And obviously he's like designed to kill, large things, tanks and stuff like that. The game is like a war game where the two different armies have different wars. Or I guess you can have more than one army if you want. So we're going to come through, and a lot of this multi-put that we put on here to seal some of these, you can see where the cracks were, and we got the multi-put inside there. We're just going to probably give that a quick sand, and then, excuse me, and then we'll start doing our second coats and getting all our detailed pieces in there and get it ready for washes like we did the Psychophage. That's a lot of talking already. And we're only like 3 minutes in. I think we're going good. Still looks like everything's great. It's the first time the internet hasn't been like, hey, you got not enough data. So that's awesome. I'm super excited. So anyway, grab yourself something to drink and hang out. And my chat's not working. Hold on. I just saw that. Let me see if I can get it on. See, that's why you should glance over here and look. It's like, wait a minute, something is wrong. My chat box is not working. I still don't even see chat. Oh, there we go. All right, Crypto McKell is here. Hello, sir. Nice to see you again. Unless that's from yesterday, which I don't think it is. I don't think that's how it works. I don't think it'll just... Although I don't actually know. So I'm bad with the internet. Okay, so like I was saying, let's go ahead and we're going to put some blacks down and get all the rest of the purples done for this stuff. And even if this is a piece of metal in here, we'll go ahead and black it for now. Just so we have all of everything painted. We're going to go with our 3. So that's a 3/0 according to this scale. And we'll just get a little bit of our marshmallow. I always do that the first couple of times I get my brush out. Like after I get going, I'm always money with like getting my brush wet. But it seems like when I get started, I'm always like, I don't know, maybe halfway in my head I'm already started. I don't know. It's weird. Alright, so we're just going to get in there and get a little bit of black going. That is a little weird to have that palette all the way out there, but I really like the way it looks in the camera, so that I can kind of pull back and you can see the palette. Sweet. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the heads up on that. Can't wait to get that internet upgraded. I really think it's going to start looking great. The camera looks outstanding on my end. And that's the thing for those of you who are watching, is like on my end, the camera looks really, really good. He's got it dialed in, just money. But I know that when it broadcasts over, it's not broadcasting at quite the same then. Oh, no, I am ignoring my Discord for a minute, just because of some other things. I'll explain to you later. But I will get on there. I'll get on there after this, and I'll definitely check it. But yeah, my Discord was kind of blowing up from something else earlier today. I think I have it resolved, but it's better to just let that stuff simmer sometimes. Sometimes, guys, listen, sometimes it's better if you're dealing with a group of individuals. Sometimes it's just better to just say a few things and then let it kind of rest. And, let people kind of chew on it. Sometimes if you just keep coming after them, it doesn't go very well. It's better to let them kind of chew on it. Sometimes people need that bit of time. I wish I knew that more when I was younger. I probably would have been a better manager, honestly. My patience level sometimes in the past was not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, yeah. I got some sweet ones. I'll have to. I got some off of my manufactory that were really sweet. But yeah. I gotta get that printer cranked up as soon as the temperature comes back up a little bit over the weekend, maybe. Well, wait, can't be over the weekend. It needs to be before Sunday. So I guess Thursday, tomorrow, or Friday or Thursday, we'll have to fire up the printer. It doesn't like it when it's cold. It always has problems when it's really cold. Alright, and that's going to be steel girders, so we're going to go ahead and black that up too. That won't hurt it to be black. We're going to make it metallic eventually. One of the things I've noticed about, so I paint other things besides miniatures. One of the things that's so interesting about miniatures and painting them is the different angles that you have to get good at putting your brush in. When you paint on a canvas, it's not like this at all. When you paint on a canvas, it's flat. So it's like, there's not any, you're trying to make it look three-dimensional. Where it goes. Now, we didn't have the power go out last night. It's just windy as all get out. And then, of course, the ice was crazy today. So it was like, oof. Other than that, it was not a big deal. It seems a lot colder than it really is. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just a tough guy. Who knows? I don't mind the cold so much. Yeah, it was, man, that wind was crazy. There were downed limbs all the way off in the city. There were down limbs. And there were down limbs in different parts of Choctaw. I was doing my morning drive around. It's crazy. Yeah, totally is the wind. But, you know, well, could have been worse, I suppose. At least it didn't do like sheets of ice, you know. I hate it when it does that, and like everybody's screwed. Everybody's better just stay home. Well, I'm gonna have to find that in a second. That's our wash brush for bigger items. Let's throw that around. I had it sitting on there from yesterday. I should have moved it. That's my own fault. And like I said, you gotta, don't be afraid to move the model around. Just don't jam your brush and stuff unless you have a brush that's your jamming brush. Like I said, if you have that need, and I understand the need to jam your brush in there. Some people that's their gig. I tried that for a while too, and it's fun, and there is something satisfying about, you know, sticking it in there and twisting it around. But it really is bad for a brush, and these are, I mean, I legit think these are Kolinsky's. I don't think that's a joke. I think because they've held up really, really well, and they're great. The point on them is wonderful. It's a pretty decent brush. Holds a good amount of paint. So, for sure. And we don't need to worry about covering it completely up because we're going to hit it with a wash as well. But we want to make sure that we've got a good amount of it covered. Especially if it's some of that, like I said, we had that old can of primer that I tried to use on these guys, and I want to make sure I've got the paint over the top of that stuff so that any of it that's loose can come off, and then we can kind of get it to sit down. So, but it gives it an interesting fuzz to it, like it's like going, it's crazy. And back to talking about Tyranids in general. So Tyranids, like, they create this shadow in the warp thing that's like the other realm, the psychic realm, or whatever you want to call it. So like they create this shadow in the warp where you can't really detect what's going on, and if you're a psyker, then you feel some sort of way about it. I'll fix this while I'm looking at it. I want to let that thing dry before I forget. A little bit of magenta on it. And that's one of those things, like I was telling you, where you want to make sure you have it all done up before you put those washes on there. Luckily, this is out on the edges of this where the Sienna wash is going to be, burnt sienna. Okay, I think this is some of that little purple stuff where the growth is coming. It's kind of like an alien when the aliens take over somewhere and they start to grow their hive stuff. The Tyranids will do that as well, and that's what these little purple growths and stuff are. So we're going to color them a lot like the carapace. Because we want to keep the army's like color the same. I think it might be fun to do a guards irregular eventually, where we just have a guard army that's made out of several different units from different types of guard. Be really fun. I also was thinking about replacing all the heads of my Marines with Smurf heads and painting them as Ultramarines, and then going into like play that like seriously. Be like, no, you called them Smurfs, and I made them Smurfs, and now you have to fight them because they heard you. And see how many people I could freak out at a game store, which is not easy, by the way. Freaking people out at a game store, they usually just laugh and think it's funny, because it is. It's probably why I spend a lot of time with gamers, because y'all are sick, just like me. Especially 40k players. If you play 40k, you're probably a little weird. I think we're all a little broken. There's that level of knowledge in 40k that you attain that like it like cripples your mind forever, you know? There's certain things that fandoms have them, like all fandoms have them, where like there's that one moment where you know you're never going to be able to escape that fandom, that you're always going to be like, oh yeah, that's my jam. And those of us that know some of those parts of 40k, you know how crazy we are, and you know how absolutely wrong that universe is. 40k is so wrong. It's so bad. And comical at the same time. I love me some orcs. They're funny as heck. I guess we can say hell, can't we? Oh, gosh, shaky. Come on, old man. Get still. Oh, yeah. I really like this camera angle. This is really working well. Really hard to get a good shot down in there. I don't think it would matter what the camera angle was. That's just a hard angle to. It's hard to paint it. I can't paint it and keep it in camera. Definitely a fun exercise. I think I really enjoy the challenge of trying to learn to paint on the camera like this. Because this is like, this is one of those rings with the camera mounted on an arm, and a bunch of light sources trying to keep it all lit up so we can see it really well and stuff. And so you gotta, number one, I'm adding the difficulty of having to maneuver the model around to paint it. And then now I've got to move the paintbrush and model around all the arms and stuff. Super challenging. It's really fun. I'm one of those people that I like challenges. It makes me happy to be able to, like, oh, that's the challenge? Let me see if I can do it. Like, I'm that person. It has led me to a lot of really great times, and a lot of really not good idea. Like, I've made a serious error. I should not have done this. But that's okay, Most of those I should not have done this moments were a lot of times it had to do with one too many alcoholic beverages. It's just not you just shouldn't let your friends talk you into those sort of things. Let that be a lesson to all you kiddos out there. Don't let your friends talk you into drinking too much, because it's a bad idea. And not just like alcohol, but you got to be careful when you drink too much of anything. Coffee is a big one. Like my lovely wife drank a little too much coffee the other day, and I was like, oh, I totally know how you feel. And now I'm going to tell this story, because I don't think I actually told her the story, because I felt so bad for her. I didn't really want to do anything but kind of, oh, I feel for you, because it sucks. It's awful. If you've ever drank too much coffee, like, and I'm not talking like, oh, I had like one cup too much, but like you drank so much coffee that you're starting to hit the toxicity level of it, because the toxicity level is pretty high up there. Once you hit that level, it really does a lot of things to the inside of your body. They're not fun. And it will make your head hurt, and it will make your body ache and shake, and it is terrible. Anyway, the story goes, I used to work for Panera when I was young. And a fun job. If you're a young person and you need a fun place to go work, Panera is not too bad. Anyway, I was young, and you'd have to close the shop or open or whatever. And sometimes on close, we would just like line up like 4 espresso shots and then like slam them. And so one night we decided we were going to do 10. It was a really, really bad idea. I was so sick. There's a 10 espresso shots in a row and I mean, and I'm not talking like we'd take one and we'd go work, and then we'd take another one and we'd go work. No. We lined all these things up in cups with like 2 or 3 shots in each cup, and just and it was one of the sickest times I've ever been from drinking anything in my life. It was as bad as being hungover. It really was. Ugh. Anywho, be careful with how much caffeine you drink. It can definitely get you. And that's the hard part about adulting. You sometimes have to make those choices. She didn't really have much of a choice. We had a bunch going on, and she had to stay up to be able to do the things she needed to do, and just one of those catch-22s. What are you gonna do? But we're definitely, now that we're getting older and we don't have to put ourselves in the same kind of places all the time, things will we won't have to do something like that again. It sucks having to stay up late when you get older. If you've been up early, it gets rougher and rougher and rougher. All right. Now again, if we make a little mistake in here, it's okay. Be just fine. We're going to be able to come back in here and fix a lot of that anyway. We just want to make sure we've got number one, some markers down on what we're doing, to tell us where we're going. Because it's super easy to get in here and put these washes on and have something disappear on you, and you don't realize what it is till you're coming through doing your highlights, and you're like, oh crap. And you have to redo the piece. Yeah. Gosh, I really do think maybe it needs to be an ultramarine arm. Ultramarine. I think it needs to be ultramarine. Okay. Ooh, that was my knee. This one's funny. This is one of the small tubes I bought a while back, and my dog chewed on it. And the funny thing is this is ultramarine blue, which is a great color, ultramarine blue. But anyway, the name of the dog is Blue. And so Blue chewed on the blue paint. So it's really funny. Or at least it's funny to me. Alright, so we got another blue. We're going to put it right here. We don't need a whole lot of it because it's just that one little arm. That's probably too much. But Yeah, whatever. Ooh, all right. So that's the theme of the channel, right? Big decisions, broad strokes. Big decisions, broad strokes. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and go for it. We're gonna make it blue, and he can hang out with Titus because I've got a Titus model that I did. And since he's an all-terrain, he can be. I can put him in the. Then whatever the army we decide to go with. Because I really am. I think when we hit 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do a vote on what chapter to make the Space Marine Army I have. Is that a burr? I left one on. Golly. Okay, so when you take these things off the models, there's a bunch of these little burrs and things like that where it, or off the sprues, that can get left on there. And I left this little one right here. It looked like it was part of his arm until I got around to painting it. You gotta be careful here. You don't want to put too much pressure on it because it can snap. And let the blade kind of do the work at first and find there it goes. All right, easy. It's just always easy does it. And I'm gonna just take a little bit of this is a sanding stick. These are really, really handy for this kind of stuff. 2 grits, 1 on each side, and we can just, and it's a lot faster than a file. And I'm just gonna give it a little bit of that treatment. Luckily this is pointed down. I'm not too terribly worried about it, but we definitely want to get that edge off of there. We'll just throw some paint on there and it should be fine. We shouldn't have to do a primer or anything like that. It's not in a place where it's going to get rubbed on or anything. Heck, it might even end up like under flock where you're not even really going to see it, where the flock sticks up around it. So if it does rub off, it's not going to make a big difference. So we should be fine. Now, if it's a section that's going to be really exposed, depending on how big of how much stuff you have to do to that piece, you may end up having to primer that area. So you can't always get away with not primering it, but we will this time. I think that's the fun thing about this channel, and I hope that it's just not just me thinking that, but like I know a lot of little tricks that I've learned. Oh, I've been painting, I don't know, forever, long time. Anyway, so I know a lot of these little tricks, and I keep learning new tricks, and I'm always looking for new tricks, and so it's fun to have kind of a place to store all those tricks. And I love this live paint format because I feel like once this really gets going, we might have a lot more people in here reading what, you know, listening to what's saying and reading comments and adding comments and, you know, all those fun things. And we can create a situation where we have a little painting community and save some of my knowledge for posterity. Yeah, seeing his little fingers. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. He's got little fingers in there too. We're gonna have to get in there. Na, 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 na. I think that's his thumb on that side right there. Yep. That's his wrist. Whee! When it's all twisted up in there, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get a good angle of that one. That one's really, really up in there. So we're not going to be able to get a good camera angle, so I'm just going to get there and paint it real quick for us. And we are going to move on. It's really cool, though. I'm glad that it is all twisted up in there. It's going to look great. It looks like, what, maybe just a little bit, was it maybe part of his bone sticking out there? That's crazy. He ripped his arm off. Tyranids always remind me of the bugs from Starship Troopers. I think that book came out first, but I'd have to look that up. Hey, what's up, my friend? How are you? It's Corey is here, Mr. Sills. We're working on this xenophage again. I did get those other two. These two guys are done. Well, they're ready for basing and stuff. And we're getting close on this one. As soon as I get all the rest of this filler put in, we're going to do the next wash on it. And then we'll start messing with the Screamer Killer a little bit. Which these things are crazy. And a couple of matches that we played, that Screamer Killer has just been a monster. This thing's not to be trifled with either. It's deadly as heck. But that Screamer Killer, if it gets close to anything, it destroys it. Absolutely destroys it. Okay. I'm not worried about claws and teeth. These little claws and teeth. I need to put something on that. For now, we'll just put this magenta on it. That's like the stump of his arm. We'll come back and do something a little bit more fleshy colored later, but this will be a good just base to put in there. I'll most likely do that with inks. I like using inks if you... No. Thanks, my friend. Appreciate it. I think it's looking awesome as well. Did you see the prime? Were you here for when I was showing the prime? So that's the color scheme for it that we're doing on the Tyranids right here. Boom, there goes. It focused right on it. So this will be what the end product will look like, is this. So like I said, it's almost Leviathan, but like my Leviathan looks way different than the Leviathan on the box. I don't know if that is a bone. It's not really in the right place to be a bone. I think that might just be wires and stuff. We'll just play in blue and we'll come back and figure out later. Yeah. Right? I really enjoy it. I'd never played Tyranids till we got the box set. And we got the box set because my sons wanted to play, and my mom was like, "Hey, what?" So like, these boys want to play this game, and I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "Okay, so what do we do?" And I was like, "Well, they're gonna buy their own stuff, but I would love to get this box set that's coming out for the new 10th edition, and for just to have it so we have the rules and all that stuff." And she's like, "Okay, well, happy birthday." I was like, "Oh." So I've been slowly getting it all together and teaching the boys to play and all that stuff since 10th came out. They had to pick their armies, and you know how that goes. So now we have my Grey Knight detachment, which I was working on prior to 10th coming out. We have the Tyranids, which is almost now, I think we're at 1,000 points of Tyranids now. I think I have 1,000. And I think I have 1,000 points of Marines. Very close. I might need a few more Marines. I know I was closer on Tyranids. And I may still be like 1 point away. Yeah. Yeah, Necrons are cool, man. My youngest son has the Necrons. He loves them. And they're looking pretty deadly. The tournament rules or outcomes have been coming out with Necrons being a pretty heavy hitters, which is super cool. They should be. I mean, lore-wise, the Necrons are brutal. And who doesn't love Trazian the Infinite? It's hysterical. For those of you who don't know, Necrons are kind of like undead Egyptian robots that got tricked into selling their souls for immortality, and they got tricked into becoming these robots. They lived on a world or a system where the radiation poisoning was so bad that they genetically developed a bunch of immune deficiencies and bad genetic diseases and such. And so they tried to become immortal by asking another group of aliens that no longer exists, called the Old Ones, for help. And the Old Ones turned them down. And then there was a giant war called the War in Heaven. And at first, the Necrons lost, or were losing, and that's when they sold their souls to the Satan. And the Satan gave them living metal bodies and trapped them in them. And they've been that way ever since. Eventually, the Necrons won, and they trapped the Satan. And after they turned them into shards, they destroyed them and somehow turned them into these shards. And then they all went to sleep on order of Cesarek. Is that right? Is that the Silent King's name? The Silent King is his title. I think his name is Cesarek. And he put everybody to sleep and then went floating in the void. And the reason that this is important, and the reason it relates to Tyranids, is he theoretically saw the Tyranids coming. And so he decided to go back to the galaxy and reawaken the Tomb Worlds and the Necrons. Now here's the cool thing. Necrons are not organic. Tyranids like things that are organic. So if there's anything that is like the antithesis of Tyranids, it's Necrons. And it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out in the lore. So that's that's fun. That's a fun bit about having me paint and talk too. Is I know a lot of the lore behind a lot of the things I'm painting. And if I don't know, I will go and I will find it because I love lore. And I would definitely like to have the lore for it so we can talk about it as we go. It kind of makes it fun. We were talking a lot about Princess Bride. It's a good movie, and I didn't want to spoil it, so I was trying to kind of not tell too much. But I definitely made a few quotes here and there and talked about the movie. So it was cool. And I told everybody, you need to go watch that movie. So if it got spoiled, it was your own fault. It's not my fault. I'm not accepting responsibility for that. Alright. Just want to make sure we got all the little touch-ups. Oh my goodness. Alright, I think we're ready for the next washes. Okay, what time is it? Hey, we're doing good. It's only 1:40. Definitely have to. Today's an interesting day for me running around. I've got to go and get one kid from one school, get another kid from another school, get another. It just goes on and on and on. And Tuesdays are the craziest because my daughter goes to dance, so like I got to do that on top of it. And today is also my oldest son's birthday, so happy birthday to my oldest son, who sometimes listens to these things. So if you listen to this, son, I love you, and happy birthday. So there we go. Did you see the MTG Princess Bride? I did not see the Magic Gathering Princess Bride cards. That's amazing. I'm so glad that they did that. Princess Bride is absolutely hysterical. I've seen a couple of copies of the original book now that I've kind of started messing with it, doing the painting and stuff. So I saw that. It was a lot of fun. Goodness, where did that? Oh, that's right. We dropped it on the floor. Where did it go? I spend my life looking for paintbrushes. We'll just steal one from the kids. They got some all messed up ones over here. It'll be fine. We'll give it back to them later. So, this is actually where you want that kind of messed up brush. You want the one that's all funky. I'm going to take a big wad of that paint. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to wet your brush for this. We're just going to set it down in there, just like we did yesterday. Okay. And then we're going to add our handy H2O. And we just mix it. And whoop. And this is why we want a junk brush. And we're just trying to get that pigment as thin as possible. Well, not as possible. It's thinned out real good, but still has a good color to it. You know, we wanted it to, when you push it on the side, see how we can see this pigment still coming out? That's what we want. We want to see that. And I like doing it on this because you can see I can move it around. I can make sure I got it as blended in as possible. Okay. That's what we want right there. Alright, second verse, same as the first. We're just going to cover everything head to toe in this color right here. And then after this, we'll start the blending process tomorrow. Because this will take a couple washes to get this right. And then, like I said, we'll blend tomorrow. And you guys can, we'll start, well, we're going to start the blending tomorrow. There's a lot of blending that's going to have to be done on this guy. It's a big piece. But it's going to look super awesome. And this wash is just going to kind of help us get that blend to really hit all the crevices as we come out of there. Because it's going to dry on top of that darker wash that we used to actually be the thing we were doing with the Umber was getting the dark cracks to create the shadows. Because we wanted that fleshy color shadow. We didn't want like a black shadow. Because like I was saying yesterday, shadows come basically from, you know, the surroundings. So since this is a fleshy surrounding, we want a fleshier, you know, a browner color tone for our wash. Just like if it's metallic, we want a black, or if it's, when we do this carapace, we're actually going to use a Payne's gray. Learning how to use washes and which washes to use where really will accelerate your game, your paint game. You'll really you'll start understanding a lot more. Like, oh, okay, so I put this wash on, and then I put this wash on, and then I put that on, and then it's, you know, da-da-da-da. And that's exactly what this channel's here for. I feel like it's so corny saying that stuff, but then like, you know, I watch other channels and they don't explain everything sometimes, and I'm like, oh, you guys should have pointed that out. You definitely did. They definitely do it. It's not like they're not doing the same thing. Technique wise, it's just like, sometimes I think sometimes we overthink things and we're like, oh man, I'm sounding goofy. And I think me being a culinary teacher for a while has really helps me kind of understand that it's okay to repeat. It's okay to repeat the information. I mean, you don't want to sit there and spend all your time repeating yourself, but it is okay if we go over the same information a couple times. Maybe somebody didn't hear it. Maybe somebody was absent that day. Maybe there's lots of things that could be maybe, you know. I'm going to turn into my own version of Britney Spears. Oh, maybe. I'm a goofball. Don't pay too much attention to me. Just have a laugh and we're going to keep moving. All right. Looks like we'll have to make some more of this wash this evening to do the next round, but that's our first round done. We're going to let that dry. Maybe pull a little bit off of this. Payne's gray. Carpet's down here. Yes. Really starting to look sweet. Okay, we're going to put him to the side for now. And we'll come back to him later. Probably, well, I mean, I'm going to come back to him later. Not necessarily you guys. We'll see that. But I'll get the rest of his washes done. We're also going to do like a Payne's gray on the top. I might wait so you guys can see that because it doesn't have to be done for us to start the blending. So I might wait to do that when the time is right. So, yeah. It's gonna look cool. It's gonna look good. Okay. Now, ooh, goodness. So, same thing here. We're just gonna get our trusty little sand stick. We're just gonna give it a little bit of. We just want to clean it up. Unfortunately, like I said, it cracked on me after the fact, and it was like, ah. I think I dropped it and it cracked. I was like, oh man. And I couldn't quite get it to come back together right. So I was like, and these push fits are ridiculous. I really am starting to think that the best way to do push fit is to literally just cut the push fit parts out of it and then glue it together. Cause like even this one, like this is ridiculous. It's already messed up. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to secure that arm better. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of surgery on it or something. So anyway, and this is part of how this goes if you ever have to deal with making models. They sometimes, you know, it says it goes together like this, but it doesn't really. It mostly goes together like that, and then it goes together another way too. We're gonna take him off his base as well. Now what I'm doing is I'm using this to hold it steady while I push up with my fingers to take the base off. It always works better that way. I'm not trying to like push this through the base. Somehow I always end up cracking bases doing that. What I'm trying to do is just push the base up with my fingers. But then again, there's always like, oh, this has to be done this way every time except for it's got that I'll call it the English rule. I before E except after C unless it's weird. Get it? Because weird. Get it? I'm a goober. All right. So we don't want this multi-put sitting in these ridges because we want to be able to see that when we go to paint it. So I'm just going to kind of clean those out a little bit. And this is the unfortunate side of getting ahead of yourself. And yeah, like I said, my kids wanted to play, and I'm a good dad, you know. So I was like, okay, this is actually working better than that sandpaper was. So there you go. If you gotta take this stuff off, just give it the old scrape like you would a mold line, and it seems to be popping right off. I feel like I got the wrong arm in the wrong place there. What are you gonna do now, right? It's all, anyway. And when I was putting this one together, it was late at night, and that's probably where the whole thing kind of started to snowball on us. And we might come back and just put a dab of primer back on this guy, just because now we've got a bunch of uneven, probably some uneven spots, and maybe some other issues that we just want to make sure we're going to get the paint to stick on it, especially because this is like right out where you can see. We can't cheat it and hide or any of that stuff, which is why I went back and I put this milk when it did that land right in the purple. Oh no, we only got a little bit on there. Good deal. I'll just leave that off for now. We got to fix it anyway. So like I said, it kind of started with me being tired and messing with it late at night, and yeah, it just snowballed from there, if I'm honest. Because normally I would have used some sprue goo when I got this put together, when I was putting it together, but yeah, this time I did not. Turn that dang buzzer off. I need to put it on silent for the hour I do this so that it won't buzz me. Dang phones are such a distraction these days. And you can just see how I'm just gently trying to follow the model itself. Get rid of anything I can that's going to come off easy. The rest of it's going to fill itself up, and we can fix a lot of this in the paint. We can make the paint, when we paint it, we'll make it look right. You got this. Thanks, Nathan. I really appreciate you. Yeah, you just kind of, like I said, sometimes, you know, you just, oh, it was good kids, and they were excited. And it was their first time to ever be able to play Warhammer, because this is before they had their armies ready, even close to anything. But they wanted to play, so it's like, okay, well, we'll play. And so we put them together and primed them and played, and it was all in a hurry. So now we're back to, so now we're trying to fix all the little mistakes I made being a good dad. Which is like, if you ever become a dad, that's pretty much your entire life, is just trying to get things done right for the kids the way they like it, and then going back behind them and then fixing it all up after the fact. I'm like, okay, well, this was a great time, and now my yard is destroyed from them playing soccer in it, but it's totally worth it because they had a blast. Or like they accidentally lit the trash can on fire during the 4th of July with some fireworks, and you know, it didn't make that much of a difference. We just had to order a new trash can. Fine, you know, whatever. That kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Alright. Well, got a little bit on his booty. He's thick in the back. He got them chunky thighs. And of course they had to make his poor tail look like a Games Workshops, man. They got a thing. Okay. I really think our best bet is going to be to take this short post off and to sprue glue this whole thing into place. A long post will be helpful, but this short post, it just seems like every time I try to wedge it in there, I break more off of it. So we're going to get the rest of that. We're just going to take the rest of that off, because now we have some of it jammed in the hole anyway. You can't get to it, and that one's almost empty. So, bam. If you don't have this, buy this. If you make models, and you make plastic models and you don't have this, you've been doing your life wrong. Don't get that tester squeeze tube, man. That stuff makes a mess everywhere. So anyway, this, and no, it isn't just straight acetone. There's other stuff in it. I looked it up. I'm gonna get us a formula, and I'm gonna start making my own. Okay, so what we doing is, and this has got a nice little brush, and you just dip it in. Oh, it's so good. We're gonna do this last little bit, and then I'm gonna close down, and I'm gonna shut down the office so that it can dry, so I'm not in here with these fumes. Because as it dries, it will create some fumes. It's creating some fumes already. I probably should be wearing a mask. Matter of fact, let me do that. I have them right here and available. There we go. Instead of being a dumbass, I'll just put on a mask. Especially since I have a dang lung condition, and I'm going to end up dying if I don't put on the mask. So, there we go. And then that should, we're just going to hold it there for a little while, let it set up. Okay, and he is going to hang out until tomorrow when we need him. Now, don't throw these away, because like this one's getting pretty low. But what you can do is you can cut up your sprues, and you can put it in it, and you can make what they call sprue goo, which is this stuff here. And it's pretty crazy. I think I showed this on one of the other programs, but it's like liquid plastic. And you can use it to kind of fill gaps, glue stuff together. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. I got that shut down now, so I'm not breathing in pure fumes. So I'm gonna take this off to say proper goodbyes. We're like right on time. The message was, Kristen, she needs a blanket. I will definitely bring you a blanket. I heard you. I got you a blanket. I'll bring it. My mother is like me. We kind of like it cold, so our house is a little cold. And we're going to my mom's house tonight, and so I'm gonna make sure Kristen's got a blanket, so she doesn't get it super cold. Awesome. That's great. All right. So anyway, thanks again for stopping by, especially any folks who've not been here before. Really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to do the like, subscribe, ring the bell, doobly doos, da-da-da-das, all that stuff, because it seriously, it helps. Number one, it helps me get this channel growing and get us underway so that we can use all of the money to buy more miniatures. And it also, it helps with me feeling like, I'm not just screaming into the void. And it's a great motivator, and really helps. It helps keep me wanting to paint and come and talk to you guys. And I think that all that's wonderful. So hopefully you do too. And we earned some likes and some subscribes today. That's the goal of all the YouTubers, right? Is to earn the likes and the subscribes. So I hope you had a great day. Again, there's our progress on our psychophage. We have our second wash on there, and you can already kind of see how it's changing our brown color around just ever so slightly. The second one will really change it, and it's going to get, by the time you see it tomorrow, it's going to be super dirty looking. And then we'll start the blending stuff on top of that to bring everything together so that we can go from the dark spots to the light spots and blend that color just right. It seems like a lot of setup for an effect, but once it's done, it looks outstanding. Anyway, I think that's just about it. I do hope you have a great day. And if you live here in Oklahoma, please be careful out on the roads. They are super slick and crazy. I'm getting ready to have to go do that myself. Not looking forward to it, but there it is. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, I suppose. I hope so. Um, Interesting. What was interesting, Nathan? Oh well, we got some time. I'll wait for a second to see if you can reply. Um, so yeah, we talk. I try to talk about a bunch of different things, and we'll do different projects and different stuff as we go. And I'll try to show you anything I can think of while I can think of it when I can think of it. So, and my dog is barking. We're gonna give you just a few more seconds. Maybe he's gonna drop in with that question. New piece. The psychophage. Yeah, that's a psychophage. It's gonna look really crazy. It's another type of tyrannid. So we've got the two pieces working. So and this one, we've got a whole army of tyrannids. So, but I'm trying to do the bigger pieces live, and I'll do the smaller pieces kind of off camera. They all match this stuff. You sit over there. They match these guys, and this is a tester piece. So they'll look a lot like this. So once they all get said and done, that's the tester, the example of what it's supposed to look like. Anyway, well, I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate you coming by, and hopefully that answered the question. I think it did. I feel like I got the right deal. So come back and see us tomorrow, and we'll finish up work on, or well, maybe not finish up, but we're gonna get closer on working on the psychophage, and we'll get started more on our screamer killer. And then, like I said, I've got other pieces to go after that, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna paint next. Anyway, that's all I got. I got to go get kids and run them around, and then we got to go to dance and all that stuff. So thanks again. Really appreciate you guys. Hopefully, like I said, we earned you to subscribe.